Welcome to Spurs Vision TV, right? And good evening to all you guys in Asia, all right? And then, of course, good afternoon to all you guys in Europe. And, of course, good morning to all you guys in the Americas, especially South America and Canada, right? Where Tiago's from, Brazil, right? And we have a great set of panelists on the show today, right? All around the world. I guess we have covered more or less all the major continents today, right? So, so I'll start first, right? Like what Arthur pointed out earlier, 3 losses, but I'm just counting the 2 losses because those were the games that we were supposed to not lose. No, I'm not going to say we were supposed to win, not lose, right? I don't know what to say. The first thing I've got to say is that I don't blame Conte too much. We've had these players more or less like 40% of the players or maybe 50% of the players that are still around since the Poch era, right? When Davis and Sanchez were doing well, we were saying, "Oh, they're superb, they're good, they're at their best." But we've been found out by Southampton and Wolves, right? And imagine what's coming up next. We'll go into that later. But of course, the rant will be polite rant, right? Each and one of you will have a chance to rant politely, right? As the show says, right? But most probably after 10 minutes, right? Whatever you want to say, right? You can just say it after that politely. Right? I'll go first. Disappointment all over the pitch. No heart, no soul. I don't know what to say anymore, right? Being a Spurs fan for so long, I'm so used to it. That's why I keep saying I'm in the Zen mode for so long. So it just brushes off me. But maybe because I'm not at the stadium like most of you guys who are based in the UK, who go to the matches and see that kind of performance, that why are you paying money, right? Season ticket holders paying good money to watch our players do that. So in the end of the day, whoever we want to blame, we will blame, right? As the fan base, like what I have today here, right? We have a great guests all around, right, from both sides of the pond, and of course both sides of the fence, right, and some on the fence. But yeah, Guguma is on the fence, right? That's why she's right in the center there. Right, but coming down to it, the Southampton game, at least we put up some fight, right? We scored the goal, but and then we crumbled again. So it comes back to the same old question: what's happening to our defense? Right, we can score goals, but we can't defend. But when it went down to the Wolverhampton game, even what Conte said, that at least the performance after the goals were very much better. He had to make tactical changes, right? And a lot of us actually didn't agree with his tactical changes. In the end, it is what it is. We lost, right? But don't be surprised, guys. We might do something with MCT, right? Don't be surprised. We always screw up, and then we'll do something good, and everything will be good again, right? So I'll start with Ian, since Ian was here first. Ian, please rant politely.
Well, I don't know if it was your show, Eugene, or one of the others that I was broadcasting on, but before the Brighton game, we had Brighton, we had Southampton, we had Wolves, and we're all saying it's 3 must-win games. If we're going where we want to be going, I think we're going to be going 3 home games against 3 teams that we would consider inferior to us, that we would win. We played fine against Brighton. I don't think they were at their best, but we played okay against Brighton. Southampton, Wolves, just awful. I mean, who didn't wake up on Thursday morning and then when did we play? Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Waking up feeling just totally depressed. I'm not with you on a couple of points, Eugene. One, I don't think Conte is immune from blame. I think that when you're in a team effort game like that, coaches and players, people are quick to blame the board, but the board weren't playing. I think Conte's got his tactics wrong. We've been a couple of times, we've struggled when teams press us, particularly Southampton. I think it's exposed Winks. I'm not a one of the Winks haters. I read some terrible things about him, but clearly when he's pressed, he's been found vulnerable, losing the ball too easily, being caught in possession. That happened both against Southampton and against Wolves. I think we were outnumbered in midfield. You're going to play a press like that. You've got to match up with three in the midfield against three. When we were going two and being squeezed and pressed, you play through a press, or you play over it. In the end, we were just getting caught time and time again. I think we took the lead twice against Southampton and couldn't leave it. That was bitterly disappointing. The statistics come out, and I think it's right about the team selections. Now, he's been hampered without Dyer and Skip, and of course he chose to leave Højbjerg out in the game against Wolves. But the statistics show when those three play, was it 10 games, 5 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats? I mean, not perfect, but it's still pretty good. And I think we are missing, I know there's people that don't like Dyer, but I think we have missed Dyer something rotten. One, because he's not that bad a player, and he wins a lot of balls in the air that we were losing, particularly, those crosses that all came in. I think we conceded 4 goals from crosses from the sort of inside right channel, all at that north end of the stadium. The other thing is he is an organizer. And he got a tune out of Sanchez, talking to him, yelling at him, and without Dyer there, Sanchez went back to his Bambi on ice player. This inability to concentrate for 90 minutes, and I think he's one that's probably proved to us that he's going to have to go. £46 million. We can talk about expenditure, but Conte as well has kept telling the players they're not good enough. Now, you go into your workplace and your boss keeps telling you you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Not easy to play. Not easy to perform in those circumstances. So I think there's a collective failing, and it's so disappointing when, 3 weeks ago we were getting results, we weren't being beaten easily, and you think, yeah, that top 4 is absolutely there for us. Man United have got problems, Arsenal have got problems with the Aubameyang situation. Man United seem to be divided from top to bottom. And all of a sudden, we're below them and maybe struggling for top 6, never mind about top 4. All disappointing.
Mm-hmm. And to tell the truth, guys, I don't like to propagate hate, right? I don't believe in hating the players. But when they do performance like that, it does upset me. But in the end of the day, they're all human too, I understand. But of course, what you've been saying, Ian, right? They're not good enough. They're not good enough. I don't think Conte was the first manager to say that. Jose was saying that too. They ain't good enough. They ain't good enough too. So I don't understand why the message hasn't gone up to wherever it's supposed to go up to, right? But of course, let's get to Shane. Shane, politely, please.
Yeah, I want to possibly add on to a few things that Ian has said. When we've had Dyer, Skip, and PH in the squad, we haven't conceded a goal. When those 3 players have played, we haven't conceded a goal, which is quite surprising. It shows that we are lacking Skip, and it's a lot of pressure to be putting on Skip. Next point is that if you get told you're not good enough, you start believing yourself. And when you don't believe in yourself, you see the results we're having. We've got to turn. That's all a part of the mentality of the squad. I don't think Conte is without blame, but he just looks like he's a dejected figure on the sideline. He's not running up and down the touchline. He's not getting involved as much. He seems to be a little bit more withdrawn on that touchline. Yeah, he still does it a little bit, but he really is withdrawn on that touchline. I think that we are lacking that defensive rock in the centre backs, and unfortunately that has to be Dyer. I'm not a big Dyer fan, but at least he organises. He talks to his other centre backs and organises them and gets them playing. I don't think Romero in the centre of a defence. He concentrates too much on himself. He doesn't. Yeah, he concentrates on his own game because that I think that's a maturity thing as well. He's only 23 or 24-year old,
23.
so he's still learning his craft as well. So yeah, overall, I think there's a disconnect between the centre backs and the midfield and the front three. I was hoping Bentancur could be that missing link. So hopefully we'll see a Bentancur and Skip partnership in that center of midfield. And I really do think that we should be matching up and playing three in the midfield.
That's true. That's true. But maybe there's still some language problems with Romero coming in, not being fluent in English. Maybe that's why the communications was so bad, right? If you've been watching the Stelios breakdown of the games on We Are Tottenham TV, right? Tactically, you keep seeing the players out of position most of the time when we were, when they scored, right? And later we'll go on to the tactics a bit, but Arthur, your turn, right? To rant politely.
That's probably, where do I begin? The defence is absolute rubbish. Just because one defender is out, the others shouldn't go to pieces, which is basically what they did. And as a season ticket holder, I watch these guys close at hand, not just from a TV screen. And I can see what they're doing. There seems to be no passion, no drive. I think, to be honest with you, that even the skill factor is left wanting. And you would think by now, Sanchez, Romero and Davis, there should be skill enough and experience enough between those three to make a fist of it. But the last two games was absolutely deplorable. In fact, it was so bad it stunk. And it goes back again, it doesn't matter what you say and how we turn this round, it goes back to not buying in 3 transfer windows. We are so far behind other teams in the league, and other teams are coming along. And then, you wouldn't expect Southampton to beat us the way they did. You wouldn't expect Wolves to turn us over, I'm lost for words, to be honest. I sat there and watched it, and I was almost in tears. And on the other hand, nervous laughter of what I was actually watching. It was absolute rubbish. And we, we spout out that we are, top 4 type side, etc. We're this and we're that. We've got a marvellous stadium, marvellous training facilities. Probably got the best coach around at the moment. Where are we? Sliding down the pecking order. Yeah, I'm not going to say anymore because I shall start swearing, and I don't want to do that.
No, you can start swearing politely.
Really, really bloody pissing off. All these guys that go on that pitch, they're all multi-millionaires. There's not one of them that's not. And we get a show like this. Sunday morning football would be a lot better.
And also, you were there at the stadium, right?
Yeah,
You watched it live.
I'm there for
and
all the
that and that's the painful thing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well,
It's so painful to watch them live.
hurts like a knife going through you. It's terrible. You know,
Yeah.
I can't believe what I'm witnessing, and all those wonderful heroes that we've had in the past must be, if they're still alive, must be having fits. The ones that are dead must be turning in their graves. You know, it is dreadful. It really, from a side like us, and with the power we're supposed to have, it's just unbelievable. And I think I've got to the bottom of the barrel where I'm just sick of it, so sick of it, you know. And yet these guys are getting paid. They hold their hand out and they get paid. Doesn't matter how they play. Perhaps that's the
true.
problem.
That's true. That's true. And Guguma, will you be ranting, Guguma?
Uh, no, I don't think so. With our most recent losses, at first I was really like disappointed and shocked with like our defense as a team and how many holes there were. And with the Wolves game, I thought we'd bounce back from Southampton. But then I watched the game again, and I still saw that there was like a lack of intensity and focus, which I really think is a big problem. Especially, we don't have it at the outset of games. But after the initial opposing goals, it looked like we were actually making like quite a few chances, but then we just couldn't finish them off. And I really just hope that we learn from the losses and improve our intensity and focus, which is where I think we're really lacking. And I feel like we're still not into like this collective groove that you need. Hi. Hello.
Hi, Iris.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Guguma.
Yes. So I still think it's like a project under Conte, and so it's gonna take more time to gel. And I'm hopeful about Man City. I still think we can have a good outcome, but we really have to just learn from our mistakes and really be more disciplined with ourselves and our mentality and like play as a team.
All right. And let's get to Tiago. Tiago, it's early in the mornings for you. Thanks for joining us. All right. And please go ahead and rant politely.
I think more of what I've seen that has made me pissed about Spurs is from the Southampton game, because on Sunday I was traveling, so I didn't really get to watch the Wolves game properly. I had it on my phone, but sorting everything out with hotels and everything, so uh, I couldn't really watch it. Thankfully, I guess, because from what I've seen on social media, I think I was lucky I didn't get to watch the game. But I mean, everybody's saying, "Oh, it's lack of intensity, lack of fight." We've seen this from some of these players since the Pochettino days. We know that Sanchez, Davies, Winks, these problems they're showing us are since the Pochettino days. Um, right wing back is a problem because both are bad. Emerson is not good. Doherty is not good. Midfield, we don't have creativity. Attack, it's Kane and Son to score goals. If they're not on, there's no goals for us. And I mean, I don't really know what to say other than I've said this before. I think it was on Maury's show after the Chelsea game. These players do not fool me anymore. I had inside my heart, it's sad to say this, but I knew these guys would show who they truly are. We've seen this before. Sanchez needs to go. Davies needs to go. Winks needs to go. Doherty needs to go. Regulon, I I don't know if you guys saw anything, but I don't know why Sessegnon started. I don't think Regulon was actually bad against Southampton. I think he put himself into good positions. Not that he's been amazing, but um, I don't understand why he was dropped. And then you have to take off Sessegnon with 20 minutes. for a substitution. As you guys were saying, Conte is not faultless. I think he made a mistake in Southampton game. He didn't. He shouldn't have subbed off Højbjerg. He should have subbed off Winks, because Winks, every time you press him, he crumbles. He cannot break a team with a pass. He's not that good with dribbling. He hides. That's what he does. That's what he did against Southampton and against Wolverhampton. All I saw around my social media, especially on Twitter, is yeah, I don't know how Winks still starts games for Spurs in 2022. That's what I saw from Spurs fans. So I'm taking it as that yeah, it wasn't good. One thing I also needed to say, because I haven't had a chance to say last week, on Twitter, I was doing a very strong case for why Emerson was not the one who cost us the game against Southampton. If you look at the goals, especially the second goal, he was left alone with three players on him. Davies and Romero were out of position. Nobody closed the space on Ward-Prowse, who we all know is very dangerous with crosses and set pieces. Again, it happened against Wolverhampton. Again, the same thing is going to happen again and again and again. We're going to get smashed by City. We're going to get humiliated. It's going to be embarrassing. There's no way this team is going to get something out of it. Midfield too. Before the Wolves game, I was saying on Twitter, if you guys go to my page, you can see it. I tweeted many times. First change to the game against Wolves. Crowd the midfield. We need bodies in that midfield. 3-5-2 is the way to go. I know we only have 4 central midfielders, but it's when we play well. Because when we play 3-5-2, Kane looked good. Højbjerg looked good against Leicester in the 3-5-2. Bentancur did really well in the midfield 3 for Juventus. Our wingbacks, yeah, it's a problem, but we look good in a 3-5-2. It works. Kane and Son up top, one of them passing to the other. I saw the Son miss as well. I don't know what's happening with Sonny, because last season that would have been a goal all day, easy. If he wasn't the one scoring the goal, he would give the ball to Kane. Kane would score. So yeah, for me, all I can say is I've seen this before. I'm not surprised it's happening. It's proven once again. These guys need to go. We need to make a complete change. And I had a thought. It was, okay, we improved under Conte. Let's see, now that the transfer window is closed, let's see if they were doing this to save themselves from being transferred, or if Antonio Conte really got them on board. I guess it's the first option. Again, it's the first option. These guys look better in the beginning, save themselves from a transfer, because they know if they leave the club, they will not get anything as good as us or anything better. They will downgrade because they're not good enough. It's not that we miss a leader in our defense. They're bad. They're not good enough. You can put Virgil van Dijk in the defense. They will still look like clowns. Dyer, for me, won't make much of a difference. We need centre backs, top quality centre backs. And I said all along this transfer window, it's the priority. And you know what's bad? Ben Davies doesn't have a replacement. If Davies is shit against City, we cannot change him for Burnley because we don't have anyone who can play in the position he plays.
That's true. Right.
Roden can step in there. I reckon Roden can step in there and do a job. Although he is nursing 2 cracked ribs and cracked cartilage, but I think Roden can step in and do the job. If he's a better option than Sanchez or Jaffet at the moment, I think.
Yep. But of course, saving the best for last, right? Sean, please rant politely.
I'm not sure it's the best for last, mate. There's lots to say. I agree with a lot of what that's already been said. I definitely think that. Let's start with the bad, I guess, right? So I personally think that Conte at the moment is guilty of trying to fit square pegs in round holes a little bit too much. I think he's desperate to play this wing-back formation. I think that he would like to be 3-5-2, but the squad being fairly threadbare in the midfield, we only have 4 recognised midfielders, and with one of them out injured, it means he's kind of limited to be able to, if he wants to play all 3 of them in the same 3-5-2, he'd have no options off the bench. So there's a little bit of responsibility on Paratici there for maybe getting rid of one too many midfielders in the January window. But so he's forced to go 3-4-3, which isn't his favourite formation, but it doesn't seem to work. If you look at the highlights of all of the last 3 games, it doesn't look like we're like the opposition are playing in the spaces between the defence and the midfield, and between the midfield and the attack. And if you look at some of the freeze frames or some of the highlights, when we lose the ball, we're just all over the place in the 3-4-3, and I don't think the players are comfortable playing it. But I don't think we know our best formation or any formation that works. I do think it's time that we need to have a bit more flexibility with the thought, given the fact that we don't have any good wing backs of any note, apart from maybe Reguilon, who can beat a man. Emerson can't beat a man. Doherty doesn't have the technique to do anything. And Sessegnon looks like I just don't know what's happening with him. He's all sorts of out of his depth. So if you can't beat a man, then you can't play the wing-back formation. You can't do it, right? So I think as awkward as it's going to be to change formations, I think you have to start to look at, well, how do our players best fit? And I think some sort of 4 at the back, maybe a 4-2-3-1, something like that might give us a little bit more security and less vulnerability in the formation play. I do also want to just point out, everybody is thinking, we should have smashed Wolves, we should have smashed Southampton because we're at home, and there's an argument to say 100% we should have done. But at the same time, I don't think that they're that. I think that they are both very, very, very good teams. Hassenberg, or whatever his name is, David Hasselhoff at Southampton has created a fantastic system.
Hasselhoff?
Yeah, David Hasselhoff gets his bikini out for puts his bikini away.
Mankini.
Yeah, I just think that look, Brighton have had we beat Brighton. Manchester United, they won last night, but Brighton walked them off the park at Old Trafford. Right, Brighton are a good team, and Southampton, they beat us, but we lost to them trying to win the game. Right, we were 2-1 up. We conceded a goal. We went to try and go again, and we lost. Okay, we can pick it apart and point to all the individual mistakes, but ultimately we lost the game trying to win it, which is some sort of kind of glass half empty or glass half full view on it, I guess. And then Wolverhampton Wanderers, just to remind everybody, they have the second best defensive record in the Premiership. You go down, you lose 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. I was at the game like Arthur. You go 2-0 down against the team with the second best team in the Premiership. It's game over. You're not going to be able to bring that back. And we did try. We did have chances. Kulusevski could have had an assist, and he could have had a goal for himself. Sonny wasn't firing. Harry Kane wasn't firing. We did have opportunities to pull it back, which you can't say that most of the other teams that play against Wolves who go behind do. The problem against Wolves was, arguably it was a team shit show, but it was, Hugo Lloris, who's normally one of our most reliable players, he had a nightmare. 2 sloppy goals that never should have happened. He should have plucked them both out of the air. And if you go 2-0 down to the team with the second best defensive record, you're up against it. So, and I don't want to criticize Hugo Lloris because he is one of our most consistent players, but you have to obviously just call it as you see it. And he was responsible for two silly mistakes. So I do think that you have to kind of zoom out a little bit. I'm always someone who tries to find a reason to be positive, tries to find a reason to stay positive. And here's what I'll say. I do think that we're still in the top 4 race. There's still 45% of the season to go. I think that Manchester United are as vulnerable to an absolute nightmare as Tottenham are. I think that Arsenal are just as threadbare as Tottenham are. I think that West Ham will always prove you right. If you wait long enough, they will let themselves down at the second half of the season. You've got Wolverhampton Wanderers that are above us now, but they're a really good team. So are Southampton, so are Brighton. There's 6 or 7 teams that could finish in the top 4, and we are not out of it. It was a disappointing game. I do think that Conte should share some of the responsibility. The one thing I was really happy with was against the Southampton game, after half an hour, myself and everyone around me was calling out saying this isn't working, right? It's not, the formation doesn't work. And if you remember Jose Mourinho, when he was one of the best managers in the game at peak Mourinho when he was at Chelsea. If something wasn't working, he would make a proactive decision. He would make a substitution in the first half, and he'd put his arm around the player and say, look, it's not your fault, it's my fault. He'd go out against the press after the game and say the same thing. It wasn't his fault, it was my fault. I had to make a change. Someone had to fall on their sword, but it was for the good of the team. And he didn't do it against Southampton. And that was where I was like, this guy's now a little bit, he's stuck in his system, and it's crazy. Against Wolves, I know his hand was forced, but he did make the change. He did get Sessegnon off. I personally think that he should have maybe taken Doherty off and played Sessegnon as an inverted right back, because I think Sessegnon can offer more out of position than Doherty ever can. But I'm happy to have seen it. He at least has that card up his sleeve where he's willing to make a change. And so, against Man City, it's going to be super tough. It's going to be super tough. And I don't particularly really want him to go to a back four against Man City. It's the worst game to experiment, because if it doesn't work, which it likely won't against the best team in Europe, then everyone will say that the back four was, I told you it didn't work. Let's go back to the back three and use the wing back system. So I don't think we should trial it against Man City, because I think the Man City game is, I think it was going to be super tough to get anything out of it. I'll always wear my hat on the day and hopefully be, pleasantly surprised. But once the Man City game's out of the way, we have a little bit of a break, and we do have a run of games. And I wouldn't mind seeing us against tougher teams do a back four with a two in front. Obviously, Skippy's going to be massively important. The stats, I think I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Shane who mentioned the stats. When you have Højbjerg, Skip, and Romero in the team, was it Ian? Was it? Sorry. There's zero. It's a lot more comfortable. A lot more. The spine looks stronger. And it's amazing that we're paying Oliver Skip, I think, £22,000 a week, and he is such an essential, pivotal part of our successes. And when he's absent, it's a massive. We always seem to struggle. And Eric Dyer, to whoever was talking about the communication, Eric Dyer speaks Spanish and Portuguese, and I keep saying it, when you don't have that element in the team, and you've got, I know Reguilon speaks English fairly well, but we've got a very, very young defensive line, including the wing backs. You've got Emerson doesn't speak English, Romero barely speaks English, Davies, he does speak English, but he doesn't speak Spanish or Portuguese. You need someone to communicate. And as weird as it is to say it, like, Eric Dyer is a key player for Tottenham. And so I think he's back for Saturday. I don't think Oliver Skip is, which is a real shame. But Eric Dyer is a key part. But you know what? You can't make excuses about injuries, because every team goes through injuries. And if we're going to rely on an injury-free rest of the season to have any chance of doing anything, then we're fooling ourselves. There's always going to be injuries that come along. So we have to make do with what we've got. And I would just like to see Conte reflect a little bit and acknowledge the fact that whilst we have the wing backs that we do, we shouldn't be playing a wing back system, because it just doesn't, we're not good enough. They don't have the talent or the confidence to bomb forward and beat a man. And so I think we have to stop putting square pegs in round holes and fit the system to the squad that we have. That's how I feel about it.
Probably agree with that.
So I think what Sean is trying to say is that it's just totally lack of depth.
And
Totally lack of depth.
that was the good news. Now for the bad, Sean.
We're gonna get spanked. We're gonna get spanked against Man City.
Bring out the whips.
No, but I think we're still in the top four. Whatever happens against Man City, I just want everyone to remember that Brighton are going to take points off of Arsenal, and there's going to be points that are dropped everywhere after Man City. We've got a fairly decent run of games. We definitely need to get our confidence and get some sort of momentum back in. But I think there's 7 or 8 teams that are in the top 4 race, and we're one of them. So let's keep some sort of perspective on it.
Joel,
Sorry.
Due respect, there are no easy games in the Prem.
I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Shane, there's a fair chance, Shane, that Man City might score more goals on Saturday than England made a first wicket partnership in the recent Ashes series.
Oh, that's painful. But guys, before we continue, just let me hold on. Let me introduce our guest. Right. Hi, Nick, Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Shaw.
Hi, Barry.
How you doing?
Hi, Barry.
Yeah,
Nick.
Nice
Yep.
to
Sean,
see you.
Red.
Yep.
Red.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you, mate. Good to meet you on the weekend.
Yeah, just
You guys met on the weekend. Yep.
we
But
all
hold
met
on.
up on the weekend, apart from Arthur. I can't believe Arthur. We didn't get to meet the king, but hey,
Yeah.
Sean, just so you know, Sean's camera is deceivingly good. He was
Okay.
stood next to me, and it sounded like Sean, but it didn't look like Sean. And then he let me into his little secret. But I'll leave his secret there. I won't expose his secret. So we'll leave it.
It's all right.
Right.
We can talk about it. On the iceberg, you can only see a quarter of the body. it gets larger and larger as you go down.
Oh dear.
But guys, before I get to Nick's polite rant, right? Just let me read out a few comments in the chats, right? Potomac says that a delusional Spurs fan called Sava went on a rampage claiming Son's overrated for 20 minutes on Henry Wright's TV. It was sick. Not a gooner, a legit Spurs fan. But you guys should know, right? What I feel about Son and Kane, right? I think these two guys have been overplayed for the past few seasons. They haven't actually had proper rest, and there's no replacement for them. So they keep playing games in, day out. So sooner or later, it will show on their form, and of course, it will take a toll on their body, right? And Son is still coming back from an injury, and we've been watching a few streams saying that Son has that speed, right, that he showed during Brighton, but why doesn't he use it more during the Southampton game? Why didn't he use it more during the Wolves game? Maybe he's still trying not to push himself too hard, and he doesn't want to tweak it again. And you guys have been talking about Rodon coming back. I've seen what Conte has been always doing, right? He doesn't want to rush players back if they are not ready, because if you rush players back if they're not ready, they won't be fully recovered, and of course it will affect their form again, right? And what Potomac says here about Son's decision to shoot or pass is way off. Yeah, especially if you're tired mentally, you can't perform up to the level of intelligence of the football that you have, right? And of course, Potomac, big up Potomac, all this. In this modern day football, midfield determines the game. Kulu and Bentokor can be the change. Can be the change till summer. Oh, let's hope so. Kulu and Bentokor, right? And then the other one will be lack of confidence from any of our players in the middle or the back creates contagious toxicity throughout our whole squad. Yep, that's true. Potomac, right? But okay, let's get back to Nick. Nick, have your polite rant.
Have my polite rant. I don't need to. The only positive on Sunday was meeting everyone. Obviously getting to meet Sean, Ben from the coffee company, Dermot, Irish Hotspur, Ben from We Are Tottenham TV, obviously Mr. Daigle. There was a couple of times. Cody, we needed you on Sunday actually, because there was a picture of Sean with a Leave It Out banner, and we needed you there to clip it. So I don't know where that you're on mute, Sean. I don't know where that picture got to, but if we can find that picture, that would be incredible. But hey, look, I
got out of the way of that. I mean, my belly might have still been in but my face was definitely out of the photo.
we've got to find it. We got to find it. Yeah, I mean, where do we start? I was listening to you guys as I was driving back, so I was listening to what most of you had to say. I mean, I think in terms of positives, Bentancur starting. I think Kulu's more of a attacking midfield, but obviously, that's let's see what happens with that. Hugo, yeah, look, he was at fault for both goals, but he saved us probably from losing 4 or 5-0. And how many games has he saved us in the past? So let's not all start going crazy about Hugo. It just so happens that the last 2 games it's not been one player that's imploded, it's been 4 or 5. So I felt sorry for Cess, and like Sean said, I would have taken off Doherty because he didn't look like he even wanted to be there. He got the ball, he was walking around, he made no attempt to try and push the ball forward. I mean, look, Romero Romero was good as well. We just need Dyer back. We need Skip back. We need Højbjerg back. And I think, like Ian was saying, there's that stat where when those three have started, we've not conceded. So we need those three back. The likelihood is that Skip's injury is a lot worse than we actually first thought. So I don't know when he's going to be back. Dyer was back in training. Will he start? I don't know. I think he has to, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I took credit for that because I originally mentioned the statistics about the number of defeats, but the goals was Shane's. So I inadvertently took credit because I mentioned it first, but
it's all right, mate. It's all right.
Yeah,
all good.
That's right. But look, I don't know. What? Let's be positive. I disagree with Sean about top four. I think if we think we're getting top four at the moment, mathematically, I guess we can still win the league, right? So if we're going to be crazy, we can still do that. But look, I do agree with Sean in the fact that other teams are gonna cock up. Man, you are so inconsistent. My worry is that at the moment it's playing into the filth down the road's hands because they've got games in hands. They haven't got the FA Cup. They haven't got whatever else. I mean, I know we've only got the FA Cup, but we've got 4 games now which are going to define the season really because they're all away. VAR is going to be involved at some point on Saturday evening because it always is with Man City. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised, us being us, we go and get a result and then we lose to Burnley in the next game or get knocked out by Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, something ridiculous like that. So, look, it can always happen. I think we need to stay together. Conte does need to take some of the blame. We can't just sit there and go, Conte. But ultimately, the situation we're in is because of Levy and because of the investment in the squad. And ultimately, like Sean said as well, Paratici's got a job to do. Let's just see what happens. Lo Celso's tearing it up. Hill's tearing it up. Even Ndombele's tearing it up. And I know, okay, I get it. Let's with a bit of pinch of salt with it's the Spanish league, it's the French league. But all these players are doing it everywhere else, but they're not doing it with us. And there's something fundamentally wrong at that club. And ultimately, it leads back to Levy.
But Barry, in all fairness, I mean, and I make this point till I'm blue in the face. Yeah, of course, there's been critical times when we haven't invested when we should, but we sent 150 million pounds worth of footballers out on loan because they're not hacking it. So it's not lack of investment that's the main problem. It's the quality of investment when we make it.
Yeah. There's a quality. Yeah, but guys, don't forget, right? Even Dele Alli had an assist this weekend. Dele Alli had an assist, right? In the end of the day, right? I came to a very simple conclusion: we can't play in the rain. Right? The rain gets into their eyes. They can't see far enough. They kick the ball to the opposition player. Simple as that, right? So what do we get next time? We get them windshield wipers on their eyes. But guys, right, let's go to the next topic, right, for today's show, right? There is a certain part of the fan base are already chanting Conte out, right? So is it really his fault? That's my question. Ian, what do you think?
I missed the question, Eugene. Sorry, there was a noise in my background. What was the question?
The question was, right, there's a part of the fan base, right? I'm not sure whether
I got the fan base.
Right, they're already chanting Conte out.
Yeah. No,
do you think is it really his fault?
Yeah, there is.
Conte out.
Yes.
Yeah. Haven't you heard?
I never heard that. They're mad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why I want to get your opinion on that, Ian. What do you think?
That's what I heard about the fan base. So they're not, and then about chanting, but I didn't hear what you said. Maybe because I didn't believe what you said. If there's anybody shouting Conte out, they're off their trolleys. I mean, this is where you do go back to the investment, whether it's volume or whether it's quality. I mean, what we've shown is any idiot can spend £100 million on footballers. If you don't spend it well, you're not going to improve your squad. And I think that Conte has absolutely laid it on the line. And I think there was criticism of Levy in that. There was criticism of Hitchin in that. And there was criticism of his pal Paratici in that. Because the reality is he bought Brian Gill for 20 million plus Lamella. He's sent him out on loan. Now, I gather he's, again, ripping it up at Valencia, but that's not the Spanish league isn't the English league. You need a particular type of physicality and mental strength to play in the English league. And I think that what's really being said by Conte is we have to get much, much smarter, and you have to be buying, if you're going to be spending the kind of money that you are, much better players. And what I'm expecting, and of course this goes back to the top four argument, is the ability to attract the kind of players that are available. And there's a lot of good players going to be available as on a free transfer come this summer. Not that we're going to get Mbappe, but the best player in the world available on a free. Good God.
True.
There has to be, we have to sell the rubbish. That will include Winks. That will include Sanchez. I don't like saying that, but they're going to go. Maybe Davis is going to have to go. There's going to, I think, Ndombele will have to go. Lo Celso will have to go. Dele will have to go. Gil maybe have to go. I don't know. And the board are going to have to find £100 million. So we're going to have to find if we want to get where we want, and Conte won't stay if we don't. There's going to have to be spending of at least 150 million, maybe 250 million, because of the lack of investment at critical times, particularly after 2019, and worse, the investments that we've made over the last 2 or 3 years. Who have we bought that's really that good that you would say, wow, what a bargain? Someone tell me. Reguilon, okay, but Emerson, no. Doherty, no. Heavens above. It's a shambles, but it needs to change, and it needs to change now.
Yep. I understand what you're saying, right? But since Shane is indisposed at the moment, let's go to Arthur first. Arthur, what do you think about that, right? The sentiment of the fans going into that way?
I think Ian's probably hit the nail on the head there, because again it's a throwback. You go back to Poch's time. We were failing then, in his last 6 months or so, and he went to Levy and said, "Look, we need a complete rebuild," and he was greeted 7 weeks later with the sack. So all roads lead back to Enoch and Levy. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, it's down to them to make sure our club grows and gets better with better players. No one else can make the decisions, other than these guys. And my camp's firmly entrenched with a pointing finger at Enoch and Levy. You know, they need to get their bloody finger out and do something about this club, and they need to do it now. Now, if the summer, because I'm expecting it to happen this summer, and I think that's what was promised to Conte, I think if it happens this summer, then we're going to be okay. But if it doesn't, one, we're going to lose Conte because he will walk. 2, what are they going to do then? They've been around most managers in the Prem that are worthwhile. Yeah, who are they going to get to replace Conte?
Yeah,
Big Sam.
yeah.
No, he's only brought in to save us from the drop.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Big Sam.
Arthur, just adding to what you said and what I said earlier, is the ability to attract the kind of players to take us where we want is going to diminish if we're not playing Champions League football, and certainly if we're not playing European football at all.
Totally agree. And I'm sure most of us are on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
We keep trying to be nice and find excuses. There are no excuses. The fact is, we need a total rebuild, and certain people need a good kick up the arse. Excuse my French. And they should bring the hot poker out. Make things happen for God's sake.
I think Sean's playing poker by the look of him.
To be honest with you,
Sean, why are your cards so big?
to run out of patience.
Yeah.
As I said, I spoke to Levy face to face 21 years ago. I keep saying this. It's the same story because it's fact. I know what he said about bringing us up to where we should be going, bringing in the right players, winning trophies and the league, etc., etc. We've won one tin pot in 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy along with the others that are putting the money in the back pocket and enjoying life. Tinkering around with the American Rugby League and
American rugby, like that.
American Rugby League.
helmets and shoulder pads. At the end of the day, we've wandered so far off course. We just need grabbing by our neck and putting back on track. But I'm not sure Levy's capable of doing it. And I did hear, I don't know if any of you guys have heard it, last week, they said he's passed over responsibility now totally to Paratici and Conte to run the club.
What's
Hopefully
that after he rejected a $3 billion takeover investment?
I don't think there was anything. I don't think there was any truth to that. If I'm honest, Shane. Like I looked into it. Like the guy who runs that LAMF Global Ventures is a Soros nephew. He's just all he does is they just make media stuff. They're just documentaries on sports series. Like they IPO'd for 200 million. There's just first of all, there's just no. It only got picked up by one journalist in the Daily Record or whatever, but doesn't make any like a SPAC. I don't know if you want to go into this, but a SPAC is something that's an investment vehicle for growth companies that are micro companies that are trying to, keep because they go through massive burn rates of money whilst they're trying to get to a sustainable level. And that's not what Tottenham don't fit that model at all. So if Tottenham wanted to go back, if they wanted to go an IPO back on the London Stock Exchange, they wouldn't need a SPAC to do it. So there's no truth to it.
Sean, you and I were on a Spurs Eurasian TV show a couple of weeks ago where this came up, and you're probably the biggest online expert that I know that talks about this. I mean, one of my worries, and I'm conscious that the big online community is very much Levy out. My concern is, who comes in? And some of the names that I saw linked last week, Americans, which is fine if it's an Amazon or somebody like that will fit a global model. But my worry is that one or two of them were people that have franchises in the NFL, that they would come here, use the Spurs franchise model to bring their franchise to play in the NFL. And then the priority would no longer be the football club. It would be the American Football Club or the American Rugby, as Arthur brilliantly called it. And I'm in that be careful what you wish for camp in that, because there's probably a lot of money bringing a London Hotspur franchise to the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the clubs, the NFL teams that are most likely to look for a London franchise in the next 5-10 years would be Jacksonville Jaguars, who have got like a 40% sellout on their stadium every week in Northwest Florida, or West Florida. So it's, and then you've got Cleveland Browns, right? And but either I do think you will see an NFL franchise come to London, and they may very well use the Tottenham Stadium, but I don't think it would be an overall buyout of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club to make that happen. I think it would likely be syndicated through the current systems.
Sean, can I just quickly come in there, because there's a question on the chat there, Eugene. Cody Mack, what is the priority under ENIC? Right at the bottom there of the chat, what is the priority? Can everybody see that? In the annual report, Cody, the report says the priority for the company is a football club. Now, if that's in the annual report, that's a statutory document. Not saying that will always be there, but ENIC say the priority in their annual report is the football club.
Of course, they always say that, right? But it never happens.
You can't say something in an annual report that's untrue, Eugene.
But how many times have they said that?
Do.
Well, it's a subjective thing, isn't it? Right, like prioritization is kind of subjective. You can pick the peanuts out of the pool on that one, on that particular word.
Yeah,
but I do think that, to Ian's point, like I don't think that there's any. Pick your poison. Be the better the devil you know than the devil you don't. I think Ian and I probably fall on the same side of the fence when it comes to ENIC. I'm happy for him to leave. Happy for someone to pay the money. I just don't. Everyone who wants them out, they don't. I very rarely hear someone offer a valid name of someone who can do it. And when you look at the oil money out of Saudi Arabia, so most of that money is caught up in like a dozen families. Right. And so there's already one of those families that owns Newcastle, already one that owns Manchester City, already one that's invested in Southampton, already one that's invested in Paris Saint-Germain. Not that would matter, but there's not that many oil companies or oil money families that can invest in Tottenham that wouldn't already be a victim of a conflict of interest. And so, that makes that hard, that task harder. Also, I don't know how you guys feel about, the moral compromise there. And I personally don't want someone who, is misogynistic or, has a weird view on gay rights or, racism, all those sorts of things, or human rights, just generally, right? People that disagree, they have their limbs chopped off, allegedly. So I don't, I wouldn't want that stuff. The same thing can be said with Russia, especially with Russia and Ukraine. If Russia does invade, part of the sanctions that would happen on Russia is that all of the assets that are currently being money laundered through oligarchs for Vladimir Putin, all of that stuff would be frozen. If any of that stuff is in London, that would get frozen and seized immediately. So, half of the oligarchs they're not individually rich. They're basically money laundering for Vladimir Putin. So I don't think that would happen if there's any kind of conflict issues with, I want to get into politics between Russia and Ukraine, but if anything happens there, you can write off any more Russian money coming into the Premier League anytime soon. And so then all you have left really is North American money. And most of the North American money, you have two kind of options that come. You either have the SPAC that doesn't make any sense for Tottenham, or you have the leveraged debt model that happened to Manchester United, that happened to Burnley, and that happened to Liverpool in 2004. And Liverpool almost went bust before they got saved by the current owners in 2007. Burnley are likely bust if they go down this season. And Manchester United, look, everyone moans about Daniel Levy taking a high salary. The Glaziers take dividends when they haven't put any. They put in 5% of the money it cost to buy Manchester United. The rest of it was leveraged debt, and they take dividends every year out of whatever the profitability of the club is. So Daniel Levy doesn't do that. So to Ian's point, better the devil you know. I don't know who is a viable purchaser of Tottenham Hotspur. So I think for the time being, we just have to suck it up, lean on the guy, hope that he takes more of a pro-risk view on football, on transfers, because he is a property guy, and property is safe as houses, right? He has a risk-averse attitude towards his investments. And as a football owner, that doesn't usually sit well with the fan base. I understand why. But listen, I don't know who's going to be a better purchaser of Tottenham Hotspur than what we already have. That's why I tend to, lower my expectations and accept the reality. I don't want Russia. I don't want oil money. And I don't particularly want leveraged debt or SPACs. So find me someone that can, if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk suddenly gets an appetite to buy a football club, I'm all for it. But until that happens,
I don't want no billionaires in owning our club.
My club
either. But guys, the truth, guys, I'm not talking about who's going to buy a club now. Right?
Sorry.
Let's get back. Let's get back to the question again, right? Let's get back to Shane, right? I'm sure you heard about the Conte out things and all that. So, what's your point of view on that?
I reckon it's absolutely ridiculous. Who are we going to get otherwise? Yeah, he's made a few tactical errors, but any coach makes a few good tactical errors, throughout their career, There's simply nobody else that we're going to get in that's going to be better than Conte at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And let's get to Guguma. Are you in touch with a lot of South Korean fans and all that? How do they feel about Conte at the moment?
The most recent, definitely, I haven't seen anything about Conte out. The most recent thing that I saw was a video on YouTube asking why he wasn't using 352. But
I
even
mean,
that,
on Korean YouTubers?
yes. But
Oh,
even that, they
interesting.
were kind of explaining. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but they were kind of like it would be too much of a load, perhaps on Bentancur or something like that. But yeah, nothing like Conte out. And I definitely disagree with Conte out for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's get to Thiago.
Whoever says Conte out and says that the biggest problem here is Conte. For me, this person's stupid. I think everyone have already covered the investment part of the story, and I think you all were brilliant. And it's tough to disagree that investment is lacking. But this team, they showed problems with every single manager we had. I think we're way past the point of blaming managers. I think everybody can agree that we've blamed way too many managers to not see what the real problem is at the moment. So Conte, he made tactical mistakes. Everybody does. Pep Guardiola made a huge tactical mistake in the UEFA Champions League final against Chelsea last season by not playing a defensive midfielder. He played a stronger team in the Carabao Cup final against us than he did in the Champions League final against Chelsea. Everybody makes mistakes, and Conte made his mistakes, but he's proven again and again that when he makes the right choice, his choice is very good, and he does it quite often. He did that with Inter Milan, he did that with Juventus, he did it with Chelsea. He was playing a back four, changed to a back three, Premier League winner. So I would much rather trust Antonio Conte than trust the board or anyone else at the club.
All right, that's good. That's good. And Sean, any sentiments on that, the Conte out thing?
Yeah, I because I heard the same thing about the Conte out stuff. I looked on Twitter and I went to, after it happened, I looked on the top results and on the latest results. And the top results, there was a few people there was a splattering of people that were saying Conte out, but they had like next to no engagement. There was no likes on their posts. So I think there's just a few people that were, just shooting from the hip, trying to find someone to blame and doing the usual Twitter thing. I don't think there's any truth to it. I think that if you asked 100 Spurs fans, do you want Conte to stay to the end of the season? I think you'd find 100 Spurs fans, or 99 with them, would say, "Are you mad?" Of course, right? So I don't think there's any real. There's always going to be a couple of people that, do their thing, but they're just angry, sad people. So Conte's got to stay. But listen, we have to. Listen, I genuinely think that Conte was calling for. The one thing I do want to say about Conte, I think that there's I'm going to have a segment on my show called Cryptic Conte, where we try to figure out what he's saying, because I know I know he doesn't necessarily have a mastery or command of the English language, but I think he's good enough to be a little bit more say what you mean, man, because he's always asking us to read between the lines. And the last thing he said was,
when you do that show, right? You should start when he first came in, when he was always answering the questions very honestly and direct. And now you can see it starting to sway and sway and sway and get really weird. Right?
Get like a little an indicator. Is it cryptic or is it statement? I think that he's definitely kind of leaving things on the table and allowing us to make up or to figure out what he's saying. The last thing he did say, though, was we need to lower expectations. And I do think there's an element of truth to that. I do think that Tottenham, listen, I'm always going to hope that we, I'll reach for the stars, land on the sky, or whatever the phrase is. But I think that we need to give everyone, whatever happens this season, whether we finish 4th or 8th, he needs to have a summer. If Levy doesn't find the money to give him at least 120, 140 million in the summer, then I will be protesting outside Hotspur Way with Brian, because enough is enough. But January, I understand January is a difficult window to do business, but the summer you've got 3 months, so figure it out and give the guy money, and then let's see what happens when he's got the players that he wants, and you've got 3 months to make stuff happen. If he has taken his foot off the gas and given over control to Paratici and Conte to get what they want, well, we're only going to see that this summer and into next season, and so that's what we need. But if it doesn't happen for whatever reason, if you come out with the same old mistakes, same old rationale of money's tight, all that nonsense, then I'll be with Brian. I'll be with everyone else who's on the panel who wants to go to the protest. But until then, I think we have to just let the season play out as it does, and then let's see what happens in the summer to finally give Conte a team that he wants. And then we'll see what he can do. Because at the moment, all I've ever seen of Antonio Conte is that he walks into clubs that have got, very deep pockets. I want to see a manager, if he wants to be known as one of the best managers of all time, then I want to see him do it, on a rainy night in Stoke, right? I want to see him do that with a club that's a rainy night in Stoke. I don't want to see him always win when he's got bucket load, endless money. I want to see him do it with Tottenham. I'd like to see any top manager should be able to prove their point with a mid-table team and take them, or a second-rate team and take them to the top. And he hasn't done that yet. So let's see what he's capable of.
Hi, Ben.
But
Coffee man.
Ben. But Sean, to tell the truth, right? A lot of managers have come to Spurs, and a lot of managers burned.
Yeah. It's a place where great managers come to die.
Right. And of course, let's get to Nick. Nick, what do you think about the Conte outing before I tell you what's happening Conte outing? All right.
Plain and simple, it's a load of nonsense. And that's it. Let's move on to the next point.
All right. What I believe, right, the Conte outing is very simple, right? It's Levy shooting from the hips at the moment, planting the seed there. So when the time comes, right, when Levy gets rid of him, he said, "You guys wanted it." But before that, let me just go through the chats, right? All right, Potomac, what does Potomac say? Conte is the best thing that happened to the club. Same delusional, toxic fans who watch football with a microscope of one game. And of course, what does Cody Mack says? Cody Mack says, does everyone on the panel feels the football club is the priority? Of course not, right? That's what Enoch always says. Don't forget, right? Levy made his interview last year. One of those rare interviews he put out on the video, right? He says that every penny that the club makes, right, goes back into the team, right? But don't forget, I keep questioning which team, the property team or the football team, right? Klaus and Potomac says that the two previous games that were absolutely depressing. I agree. However, though, there were plenty of positives, right? At least we're creating chances. Yeah, at least we've been creating chances, right? Not like during the Nuno days that we can't even create one chance, right? But brain fart, go before again. Aaron Dubb says hello to Cody. I'm not on the panel, but I see zero evidence football is a Levy priority, right? Sean, do you like Lucas Moura? Sean, do you like Lucas Moura? Sean?
I love Lucas Moura, Cody. Yeah, he's great.
All right. Okay. All right. And then what is London is the capital of money laundering, according to the claim writer Robert Savino, who expressed the fraud and the mafia attracts the money. That's another place apart from London. It's in Southeast Asia, right? You guys. Potomac says that much more positive after Brighton. You look at like we are finished. 2 games can devastate us, as 2 games can lift us. The spirits gains, I believe, right? And Sean is saying, yep, he likes Lucas Moura, right? But guys, don't forget, right? Brighton is not going through a good. Brighton is not having a good form now, right? I think the only team they beat was Watford. In between the 2 games, they lost to us. Now they lost to MU. So, but they do play good football, but somehow or another they can't score, right? Unless it's against weaker, really, really weak teams, right? Of course, Goma saying annyeonghaseyo to Aaron Dubb, right? Mm-hmm. And why is he replying back in Japanese? Konbawa?
Oh, because I speak Japanese, so sometimes we speak.
You speak Japanese too, Guguma. That's great, right? And of course, Potomac says that probably the same fans will call Son being overrated. Yeah. And hey, big up Ben, right? Don't forget, right, guys, if you like to be chilled, right, and go join Ben's coffee company. Yeah, coffee company. It's a very nice channel where you can have a very weird talks we had, right, Ben? The last time we were chatting about politics, and of course THC and a lot of other things, right? Oh, Valentine's Day too. We were talking about Valentine's Day. Do
I
guys
can-
buy the flowers in the last minute?
Yeah.
Or they pre-buy
Eugene,
it?
I can assure you that you don't talk about anything weird compared to what we talk about on Shelfside Spurs. So,
Oh, of course, yes, yeah. But that was on the coffee channel. Yeah. Shelf side Spurs, we don't categorize that weird, right? That is totally out of this world. Right. But guys, coming back again, right? I was watching Stelios, right, on We Are Tottenham TV. I'm not sure about any of you guys watch, right? He was doing the tactical show yesterday with Sim, right? He kept saying about this zone 14. Are you guys aware of it?
No,
Sean, did you watch that?
I didn't see it.
I saw the show, but I didn't catch the phrase Zone 14. But I did see his
You
analysis.
did watch that. So I was watching that show, right? Stel says that in football tactics, right, there's a zone on the pitch, right? Whether you call it zone 14 or zone 5, which side opposition you are, right? Whenever a defender try to defend, or whenever a goal is being scored, right, it's always created from that zone. And that zone, right, is just outside that penalty box, the D, right? It's just one square there. So while Stel was saying this, right, all our defenders and all our movement and all that, the defense, right, keep passing the ball back to that zone while the attackers keep bringing it back, right? So there's some kind of a pattern that's going on there, right? So maybe one of these days we can go down and more investigate that pattern more diligently, right?
Mhm.
But I don't want to go there live on screen, right? Because you might come out to a bit unwanted, an answer from that, right? Which will involve a lot of unsavory things happening to the club and from the owners, right? But at the moment, since we've talked about the Rant politely and we've gone through the Conte outing, right? So I guess the next thing we should go on to, right? The feelings on the Man City game, right? So let me go through the chats again. Pottermac has been saying if Coach Stel was that good, he'll be on the pitch, not on YouTube. Oh yeah. But we all love Stel, right? We all love Stel. Right. And of course,
clip that.
Yeah, we love
yeah, Cody will clip that, yeah, and send it to Stel. And of course, Ben says that I believe that we're actually talking about old forts and not politics. Oh yeah, we're talking about Ford Escorts. Yeah. We were talking about Ford Escorts on that day, Ben. Right. And Ben, if you are free, you want to hop on, I'll send you the link. Right. If any of you guys know Ben how to send him the link, just send him the link if he wants to hop on, Ben. If he's free, he's at the coffee shop. You're not mistaken now, right? And let's see what Cody's asking Sean, right? Okay, this is an example of how people don't care about the concerns you have about possible owners. Lucas likes far right tweets, including transphobic ones on Twitter. No one cares. Seriously?
Okay. I didn't know that, Cody. I don't follow individual players on Twitter. I don't see that stuff. If he does that sort of thing, then that's nasty, and
Seriously,
that takes the shine off of him for me. I didn't realize that. So.
Yeah,
I
know.
Just
Seriously,
the
right?
guy who supports. I don't know how he became the president, and during his life, he has said many things. For example, he said, "I had 4 children. I have five children. The first 4 were boys. The last one was weak, and it was a girl." He also said that a woman was so she didn't even deserve to be sexually assaulted. He's racist. He's homophobic.
Lucas Moura said that.
No, the president.
No, he's talking about Bolosano.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, right.
Wow.
Bolosano, don't go there, Thiago. We all know about him, right? About his COVID stand and all that. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
We all hate him, so.
Yeah.
So just sorry, just quickly, just so I understand the context. Are you saying that Lucas Moura supports him? Is that why you're mentioning him? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Got it.
Likes,
okay.
He likes, right, including tweets. Okay, for fair of that. But I don't know. On the other day when Tommy was doing a show, with Mark, was it Mark? Mark, you're not. We can Mark from Emotion Pod, right? He says that Lucas is a really nice guy, very down to earth, a very family guy, right? did a lot of things and all that. But he hates Kane
Well-
for being arrogant and all that. So
Well,
it is what it is.
the guy he supports also pretends to be a family guy, and he has let almost 1 million people die with COVID, and he just says, "Well, I'm not the one who builds the cemetery, so it's not my problem."
That's true. That's true.
Being a family guy,
But
doesn't-
that's it. Nowadays, being human and all that, right? Whatever people do behind, we don't see what kind of people they are. We only always just praise the ones that in front that we see. So, but it's their choice of it's their prerogative to have that kind of the choice that they choose. But that's it. It's still a human right, right? So you have the right to be whatever you want to be. Okay, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's just your own choice. In the end of the day, I don't like to be a hater, right? Even though no matter how bad the players are, I don't want to hate them. But sometimes, right, even to tell the truth, right, I don't want to hate Levy either. But sometimes you just can't take it anymore, right? But sometimes I would do overballs for a while, because if you know, on my show, I never go off a bad rant and I don't swear and all that. But sometimes on other people's shows, I do. Google might have seen that before, right? I'm not sure how many guys have seen me. I think Shane saw me the last Monday, right? What happened, right?
When you're in the car, Eugene.
Yes, when
driving with Eugene.
Yep, driving Eugene, and I was
Swearing
ranting
on my
crazy.
show is encouraged. I actually actively. Sometimes when people go on a rant and they don't swear, I have to stop them and say, please find a way to throw a little curse word in there, just to
to make it more colorful, right? But now, let's come back to the more serious question now, right? Manchester City, right? Shane, do you think we can get spanked? Or should we just bring out the whips and the leather jackets and leather suits and all that? Just get ready with the pedals.
I don't think so. I think it'll be closer than we think. You know, we may lose 2-1 or 3-1 or 3-2, something like that. But I don't think we're going to get spanked, because I think the way Manchester City plays will give us opportunities to utilize the speed of Son and Kane and Bentancur's passing range, because Bentancur's got a absolutely beautiful pass on him. I think getting Son in behind the lines, and maybe Lucas Moura on the other side, in behind the lines, I think we can open them up. You know, I don't think it's going to be an absolute spanking, and I think Conte will actually set us up the proper way this game. I think he's trying to find solutions to the problems that we've had in the past over the last couple of games, and I think he'll come up with a way of at least competing with City.
And for Nick, before you make your move, right? Have your say about the MCT game, and of course, do a plug for your the channel and for the show.
Cool, thank you, Eugene. Yeah, look, if the Man City that turned up last night against Sporting Lisbon turn up, then we're getting absolutely battered on Saturday. If by some miracle something happens, VAR kicks in, or I don't know quite what. If it, the best we can hope for is a draw, right? But I've got a really bad feeling about Saturday, and that's based on the last two performances and the way that the team and the guys are at the moment, right? And it's I don't see how we suddenly lift it and just change because it's Man City. But I will happily sit here next week and on all the other streams and say I was wrong and hold my hands up. I'm big enough and ugly enough to admit when I'm in the wrong. But and in terms of our channel, you can catch us on Shelfside Spurs on a Thursday evening, 7:30. We normally start about 10 minutes late. Like most channels, very rarely start on time. But
Not mine.
Not so yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night. And then on the 3rd of March, which is 2 weeks tomorrow, we've got Steve Perryman coming on. So Vicky Hazard a couple of weeks ago. We got Steve Perryman on in a couple of weeks. So yeah, join us like with everyone else on this show. Like, subscribe, hit that bell button, or smash that like, as some people like to say or do. But yeah, Sean's channel, Tiago's channel, Persuasion, all the other channels are fantastic, right? So yeah, just subscribe to them, like them, and Eugene, thank you very much, sir.
Yep. Thanks for being on, Sean, Barry, Sean, Nick, insert name here.
Barry,
Take care. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers, Nick.
Bye. Yep. And let's get to Tiago then. Tiago, what do you think about the match coming up Saturday? Or is it Sunday? Is it Sunday or Saturday, this game?
Saturday night. Saturday, 5:30.
Oh,
UK.
What time was it?
5:30 Saturday, UK time.
5:30. Okay, that will be 17. Okay, maybe I can get to watch it. Let's see how it goes. Right, Tiago, go ahead.
I don't see us getting anything out of it. I wish I could say something different, but it's City, and as Nick said, if they turn up like they did yesterday, it's going to be humiliation against them. Their midfield is so powerful, and our midfield, if we play against Norwich and they do a little press in our midfield and we crumble, imagine City playing with De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Rodri and all those guys, and you also have Laporte and Ruben Diaz as their defenders. They have João Cancelo as a fullback and building plays from the middle. It's just scary to think what they can do to us. I hope Conte finds a way to stop them. For me, it will be a lot about what Conte will do, because you would think, okay, let's put Son and another winger to use their pace, but at the same time, we know that they are going to kill us in midfield. Or you go to a 3-5-2 to crowd the midfield, to close the space on their midfielders, but then you lose one pacey player up front. It's down to what Conte is going to do, but I think regardless, we're not going to win. Maybe it's going to be close, but yeah, I don't see us winning or even getting a draw, especially with the defense. If we slip, even if we're focused 100% of the time, they can just score 3 goals out of nothing and boom, the game's gone. So,
And Sean, your thoughts on City game?
Yeah, Eugene, it's obviously going to be a ridiculously tough game. Look, I'll go into it. My expectations are at a certain level. I know they're very low. If we put in a solid performance, if we push them, I don't want to, in the Carabao Cup final, whilst we were in the game for 85 minutes, we were 0-0. They battered us the entire game. I don't mind us losing, because we are in all likelihood going to lose, but I just want to see us put in a shift. I'd like to see us just stand up, like don't roll over. Obviously it's going to be tough, but if we can get a goal, if we lose 3-1 but we come out with something, if we can come out with our heads held high, I'll be happy, and I'll try and find a reason to be positive. But if we can get a draw, then I'll celebrate from the rooftops. I think it will be like the biggest 3 points we've ever had, but it's unlikely it's going to happen. I'm always hopeful, always positive, but in reality, I just want us to see us put in a shift and go at them as well. Like let's threaten their keeper a couple of times to see what happens.
And Guguma is always positive.
Yeah, I think we can get something out of it. I mean, nothing's set in stone yet, so when we have some time before the game, so as long as we regroup and we learn from our mistakes and listen to Conte, then I think we can do well. I think we can get something.
Right.
Big up Guguma. Love it.
Yeah,
3 points.
yeah. 3 points from Google Maps. Right?
No, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gaguba says there's no easy games in the Premier League apart from Man City away.
Yeah, Arthur, your point of view on the MCD game.
You sure you want my view?
Yeah, go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah.
Give it all out.
Now, to be honest, I think if he sets us up properly, if he's got the players to hand, then we may give a good account of ourselves. But I think we're going to lose. I think they'll run all over us. They're on an upward trend and we're sitting on our backsides at the moment. So, just depends if we turn up on the day. And that's a big if. They certainly will. It's their home ground. So I'm expecting us to get walloped. But at the end of the day, it could be tight. It could be a tight game, as has already been said. No, I don't. I'm not holding out any hope. I'm expecting us to lose. But at the end of the day, it's losing, giving a good account, or losing big time because you surrendered. Depends on if we do turn up.
That's true. That's true, Arthur. Right. And Ian, your thoughts on
can I
the
just
game?
quickly pick up on the Cody Butler debate that's been going on in the on the comments? It's really interesting because do you know? I think they're both so right. I mean, I've been a Spurs supporter for 56 years, so the idea that I could, however toxic the ownership is, just give up and not support the club. I just couldn't countenance that. But by the same token, the idea that one of these toxic regimes comes in, I do find abhorrent. But I know Cody's absolutely spot on when he says that people will just hold their noses and get on with it, particularly if they start putting in we start getting some results, some good players for big money start being bought up the table. We go. People won't give two tosses about who owns us, unfortunately, and that's just the reality of the life we live in. But it was interesting reading that for both of you, Cody. I think you're both right, but I think ultimately you're right. People, you see it at Newcastle now. No one at Newcastle, having had the Ashley years or what have you, seems to give a damn. And
or Chelsea or Manchester City, like they're all as bad as each other. Nobody who's a multi-billionaire has done it without probably killing a few people along the way.
Yes.
I mean, it's a reality, isn't it?
Ben's not here, but I went on Tottenham Town Trip Gold on New Year's Eve, and the subject came up, and Kuva is a big advocate of Amazon coming in. And I can see a lot of mileage in that. But of course, if they just bought a large minority stake, they're only just buying ENIC out, unless ENIC are prepared to be diluted, and it's new money coming into the club as well. So difficult one. It's a difficult moral one and difficult political one. But I know I haven't spoken about Saturday yet, but it is. We're very much on the same. I haven't even had a drink yet. Same side. Same side.
Joining me, bro.
There's a
lunchtime glass of red wine is sensational.
What time is it, Sean?
It's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, to tell you guys, whenever it comes to the billionaires coming to own our clubs, I've never wanted billionaires
controlling possession. Because that's what he said last time. He wants to be in control, even though they were bought out.
Yeah.
I never wanted billionaires to come in, because billionaires are never clean, right? How the hell do you become a billionaire? Do you think you become a billionaire by being a good person? Please.
Exactly.
Going on to Saturday, very quickly now, because I've used up my time allocation, just because I was really interested reading.
No. We have lots
Sean
of time.
And Cody having that debate. There was some interesting stuff on that. I think it was Sean again that spoke about maybe a tactical change. I mean, the 3-4-3 isn't working, and it certainly will not work against Manchester City. I think if we play 3-4-3, we will get hammered. And it's whether Conte is brave enough to change it to a regular 4-4-2 or the 4-2-3-1 with maybe Reguilon dropping out, Davis going to left back, Dyer and Romero in the middle, Emerson a better defender. Yeah, tell me.
I like that. And then Bentancur and Højbjerg at the back.
And then
maybe,
Kulu in the middle in that number 10, and I know he doesn't play it. Son and Lucas either side, and Kane up front. I mean,
I don't mind that.
Yeah, you like that.
Yeah.
Sure. You see, that's the sort of thing I think we could frustrate them, and we've got the players that would break quickly. When we were going forward, we wouldn't be reliant on wing backs charging forward who deliver nothing and then lose possession of this huge gaps in that. I don't know what number space it is, but it doesn't matter in those inside left, inside right channels. So that's the way I can see us getting a result. I mean, 4-2-3-1 to me would work. It's 100%. The system that suits the players we've got. And until he finds players,
we should play 6 at the back.
Oh,
we tried that against Chelsea, and that didn't happen.
Or 11.
We just play 11 at the back, right?
Eugene, I know Galini's shit, but if we could have Galini and Lloris in goal, we might have a chance.
Oh yeah, we might have a chance there too. Yeah, 2 goalkeepers. Are we allowed to do that?
So. You know, I'm looking at Cody's thing as well. So it really depends on how Conte sets us up. As I said right at the beginning of the show, Eugene, I think he's entitled to take some criticism for the way he set us up against both Wolves and against Southampton. And I think that kind of setup, it suits the players that we've got, might just get something. But otherwise, I think we might get a thumping.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
go ahead, Shane.
I'm gonna give a couple of quick score predictions, and I've got to duck away.
All right.
So first one I'm gonna give is a big Bob Spur prediction. Bob Spur always predicts a 4-1 to Spurs. So for Bob, it'll be 4-1, and I'm saying we may even sneak it 2-1 to Spurs.
Wow.
And
love that.
Stay strong, stay Spurs, and I'm out of here.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Catch you next time. Bye. Take care.
Sleep well.
All right. Okay, let's get back to Ian's interest. Okay, Ian, what do you want to say about this?
Do you know, Cody? It's the great moral dilemma. I couldn't agree with you more. But you know, at the end of the day, I support Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I don't support ENIC. I don't support Sidney Wale when he was and the Richardsons when they were in charge of the club when I first started supporting. It is a terrible moral dilemma. Whether I would put the money into the club because I go to the games when I'm down in London. I use the bars, I use the food, I buy things in the Spurs shop. Whether I would continue to do that is another matter, but withdrawing support to not watch Tottenham on the television and, to say I don't support Tottenham anymore because of its ownership, when that ownership will be temporary. How temporary? I don't know. But no, I couldn't withdraw my support. I couldn't withdraw my support. No, never.
Yeah, that's all how Spurs fans feel, right?
We're all hypocrites, right?
Everyone's
against slave labor, but we all buy an iPhone, or a lot of them do. Right?
So and you buy your jerseys and your kits and all that. Oh, where do you think that all comes from?
Exactly. Yeah. So
right.
whilst if it happened, I would be vocal against it. When it happened, I'd probably get over it, and I'd get over it very quickly. Just knowing,
especially if you win something, you'll get over it really quickly.
If he came up to me, if they came up and said we're going to buy, Mbappe or Messi or whatever, any of that kind of stuff, if that sort of thing happened, I'd soon forget about the atrocities. But that's just life. It's life, Cody. Cody, you're making me feel awful. You're making me feel awful.
But guys, okay. Before I end the show, right, I'm gonna say my part for the M City game. It's gonna be very simple. If it doesn't rain, right? If it doesn't rain, and if Levy breaks a deal with Sheikh Mansour, right, we will beat them 1-0.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll beat them 1-0, right? We'll do the double with City. But you know why? Because City have enough points to spare at the moment, right? So they might do us a pity job and get some points. Let your players have some confidence back to continue your charge for the top four, right? But before I end the show, guys, any last thoughts? Let's start with Thiago. Thiago, any last thoughts?
I was actually wanting to make a question because I saw a few people on Twitter, and I actually like the lineup. Is the back three with Dyer in the middle, Romero on the right, Davis on the left, Regal on the left wing back. Of course, we have without the right wing back because we don't know Doherty, Emerson, both are bad, or maybe try Lucas or Bergwijn there. Then in the middle, Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Kulusevski as a 10, Kane and Son up top. Kind of a 3-4-1-2.
Okay, that's
I don't know if you guys would like to see that. That's the question I have.
And Kuva says that I've been disillusioned with the top flight football for about 30 years and often think about just supporting my local non-league team, right? Can't even blame DB for that, but it hasn't helped, right? That's true. That's true, right? And Arthur, any last thoughts, Arthur?
Yeah. Break out the life belts.
Okay. All right.
I'm hoping we do something, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Okay. Guguma?
Yes.
Last thoughts before we close the show?
King Arthur.
King Arthur.
Nice. I agree with Thiago, and I think Ian mentioned it as well. I don't really know that much about tactics, but I feel like if we have Kulu as a 10, then we can really do something, especially with like Bentancur there. And Kulu was really looking good in that position the last game. So yeah, I'm optimistic. I think we could get them.
Eugene, just a quick question because I couldn't catch the game against Wolves, and I know that Kulusevski played as a 10. What did you guys make of it? Did he play well or?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
and
played very
Bentancur
well.
as well. Yeah.
He played well.
Yeah. I think he needs a bit more time to get acclimatized to the speed, right, and the strength of the Premier League, right, and to get his sharpness back, because I think he hasn't played in quite some time. Don't forget, he nearly scored, right, from outside of the box when he had that shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he has his chances. So if he takes his chances, and Kulu does like to shoot from outside of the box, and that's what we've been lacking for quite some time now. We are not having a lot of players been doing that, right? And of course, Thiago. Before I go to Ian and Sean, right? Plug your channel that you're doing a call-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you guys can see, my name, Talking Ball. Me and Colin, we are a Spurs YouTube channel as well. We have 2 shows on the week on Mondays, chatting shit, talking about what happened in the weekend after the games, and then on Thursdays we have more of a serious show, more of a tactical or more analytics show. Right now it's a little bit tough for us to make shows because I'm sorting everything out to move to college, so I don't really have the time to do shows. But Colin is taking it over at the moment, and after I move out, we're gonna come back stronger than ever. And
once we settle down in college, right?
Once we settle down, we're gonna come back stronger and better than ever. So
so guys, don't forget, right? If you're not subscribed to Talk and Ball yet, please go over to Thiago's and Colin's channel and give them a big subscribe, right? And whenever the show start, right, give them a like and please hit the notification bell, right? And of course, Ian, before I go to Sean, Ian.
Yeah, thoughts? I don't have a show. I love coming on this one. It's always good discussion on this. You do an amazing job. Just funny, I've had a message from Sean saying maybe come on our show. So I go on shows and people ask me to go on their shows, and I'm quite happy doing that. I don't know if Kuva's still there. I know he put a thing on. I know he watches this show. Just we were talking earlier about your suggestion, or when I gate crashed Tottenham Tantrum Gold that night, when about maybe someone like Amazon coming in as an alternative to some of the oil shakes, of which they're few and far between, and maybe some don't have the morals that we would like at Tottenham. But yeah, that's me. Yeah, Kuvets for another day. But yeah, always a good show, Eugene. Always a pleasure to be on this.
Yep, thanks for being on, Ian. And Sean, last thoughts and plug your show.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, last thoughts are, like I say, I think it's going to be tough, but I think we can maybe snatch a result. I love Gaguma's outlook. We can somehow win 2-1, 4-1. Oh, who said 4-1? Oh, Shane said 4-1.
Shane, yeah.
In honor of Bob Spur. I love that stuff. Yeah, you can find me, guys, at Spurs Talk Show. All one word on Twitter. At Spurs Talk Show on Twitter or Spurs Talk Show on YouTube. And yeah, I want to get everybody on my show because I love this channel. This channel is fantastic. It should have far more subscribers than it does. I'm on a march to get
don't
everybody.
Subscribe to my channel.
I already have. I already have. That was a long time ago. No, but everybody, I want everybody who's got is less than 1,000. We need to work together to get everybody over 1,000 because it's madness. There's so much content quality going on, and it's insane that there's not enough people that are finding these channels. So. Yeah, Spurs Persuasion is awesome. Please, if you haven't liked and shared and subscribed, you can find me at Spurs Talk Show, but also Talk and Ball as well. It's fantastic. I don't think Kaguma or Arthur or Ian had their shows, but yeah, that's where you can find me. And thanks for having me again, Eugene. I really appreciate coming
When's
on.
the next show? Sean?
Tomorrow night, 5 p.m.
Tomorrow, 5 p.m.
We always do one show. It's always supposed to be 90 minutes, but they usually end up going for like 4 or 5 hours. I know, it's madness. But they are always at 5 p.m. 2 days before the show. So if there's a game on Saturday like this week, then it's Thursday night. If there's a game on Sunday, it's Friday night or whatever. But that's the one guaranteed slot of the week. And then I'm trying to up the content, but it's difficult. Just got lots of things on with work and shit. So
yeah. And Potomac says, right, Eugene, forecast is rain. Weather changes our team, maybe. Just as long as it doesn't rain, right? I hate it when I see Spurs play in the rain because I don't know why they can't play in the rain.
It's a little bit tough because the game is at Manchester, so it's a little bit tough to not have some rain.
Yeah,
I think maybe it's asking a bit too much.
Yeah, if it rains, right? We got Bambi on ice. We've got Davis who can't pass the ball without wearing glasses, right? and nowadays we have lorries flapping at things, so it's gonna be scary.
We do have lorries flapping at things, correct?
Yeah, that was. I don't want to go there, right? But don't forget, right? A lot of the problems all started from the defense. They don't clear the ball properly. It comes back, and it is what it is, right? But before I end the show, guys, as usual, DV out.
Go Spurs!